What is going on, guys, and welcome to CSS tutorial. And in this video we're going to actually create a horizontal navbar. So you can see already here that I created an unordered list, and I have list items, and obviously I have links within here. So the only thing is we need to do is over here we go to main CSS and we're going to start styling. Now you can see that I set the body right away to margin 0 and padding 0, so we don't need to do that. And then we just go ahead and we start styling the unordered list. And the first thing obviously we would do, we would create a margin 0 again, and then we would say a padding 0, obviously like we did before. And then the last thing we would do would actually create a list style type. We would have none, right? So over here I would say list style type, and I would set it to none, something like this. And now that we're done with this, let's just create some background color, and I'm just gonna say something like bisque, something like this. Once I set the background color, let's move on to a list items, right? So over here I'm just gonna say list item and then a link over here like this, and then I would say a color, I would say white. That's what I would want, a color of the fonts to be white. Then I would say text align, I would want center over here. And let's say the padding, I would want also like, I don't know, like 10 pixels, something like this. And the last thing what we would want to do is text decoration, we also would set to none, right? So we go over here and we already know that we would set text decoration to none. Now here's the deal. How do we actually get this? These links over here to be horizontal. So the first what we would need to do, we would actually need to go to the actual list item, not the list item link, but actual list item, and we would need to say that we are floating them left over here like this. So now you can see that they're floated left. However, if you remember when when we were dealing with the divs and the pictures, if the pictures were floated and if they were actually if there was an overflow, they were actually messing up the whole div. So what we would need to do over here, we would need to go to actual UL over here, and I would say that overflow hidden, and now you can see right away how they appear again. And the reason is that if we have some elements that we're floating within here, in this case it's going to be a block element, if we're floating within that element, and if it's actually more than the size, you know that it's actually spinning out, right? So that's the reason for overflow hidden. And then you can see that now that I have floated these list items, they actually appear normally. And what I would want to do over here, I would go all the way in here in the bottom, and I would say that I would want them to be displayed block over here, because in that case we can always click on actual, on this whole area instead of just being around the text, right? And the last thing that I would want to do is, as I'm hovering, I would want to set a list item, let's say a hover, and I would want to say a different style, right? So I would say like background color, something like red or something like that. And let's find where is red. And what we would want to do is we would want to set also, let's say, a font color. So I'm just going to say color. I would want to set it black. So as we're hovering over here, we have it red, and we have it obviously a black color of the fonts. And now let me show you one more thing that we could do. We could obviously get a class active, and we could set that class active, let's say again to the green. And again, we could just set the style so we're not affecting it. So we already have the class over here green, I believe. So we go to class active, and we say that we want a new rule, and we want a background color to be green over here. And we'll just find whatever we like over here, something like this. And when we close this over here and we go to main CSS, again, as we're hovering, we say that we want a pseudo element, not, and we say that the class active shouldn't be included. So we write something like this, active over here. And now you can see that as I'm hovering over, it's actually the class active is not affected. And the last thing that I would want to show you is how we can float, let's say, this active link all the way to the right. So we go back to index over here like this, and we find a list item that is actually holding a anchor tag over here, and we write over here style, and we say that we want style, and we want to float, and we want to float right. So what you see, what happens is that right away you can see that we have floated this link all the way to the right. This is going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.